Who's that?
He's driving.
Since when?
Since an hour ago. Came down from the top.
From the top of what? You make him seem like he's goddamn Moses.
Don't you take the Lord's name in vain.
Well, I'm goddamn sorry.
Well, you're gonna be sorry. And if you don't like it, Sonny, you can get out right now.
What I don't like is you, him, or anybody else changing the plans every time I turn around. That's what I don't like. I'm Sonny.
And I'm Wes.
And I'm Jack Cruz.
And we'll be cruising right behind you. Cruising behind the cruise.
What do you mean you'll be right behind me?
Protection.
Protection from what?
It's policy. We send a car with every truck.
Come on, let's do it.
This your dog?
Tiny ain't nobody's dog but his own. Easy, boy.
Toilets. Can you believe it? 5-gallon flush. Want to look any closer?
I'm just here to drive.
Hello, hello. I'm Katie, and welcome to Retromade, your pop culture rewind. Today, we're going to go back to May of 1998, probably the newest, most recent movie we'll ever cover, or at least up until now, for the Trucker Road action movie Black Dog. And as always, we'll touch on all of the other happenings of the time in the time capsule. Today, I'm very happy to be joined by Scott Murphy of All 90s Action All the Time and New Horror Express podcast. Scott, thank you so much for joining me. Please tell us about you and your shows.
Oh, well, thank you very much for having me on. It's always a pleasure to be invited onto another podcast. So, All 90s Action All the Time is a monthly podcast where me and my co-host Craig look at just 90s action films. And the format was originally we would look at individual action stars, do seasons on individual action stars. That's how we started it. We did Seagal, Stallone, Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer. But then we went on to doing films that correspond to the year in the 90s. So last year we did films of 93. This year we're doing films in 94. And so on and so forth. It's really a very simple concept. It is literally we just look at 90s action films.
It's great. I love it. I like both concepts. I like the themes of the guys, like each guy, and now the years.
And New Horror Express is actually kind of winding down. I've only got 2 episodes that I've got recorded that I need to release at some stage, but then I'm kind of ending it there because it was kind of too much having the 2 podcasts. But that was an interview show where I talk to horror writers, directors, actors, all sorts. Just anybody working in indie horror today, I was interviewing them. And we did some other side shows. We had a side series that looked at guilty pleasure horrors, and we had a couple of times where I was looking at films from horror film festivals and did a couple of specials that way. But as much as it is ending, there is an archive. There's about 183 episodes available, so you can still listen to all of those that I did over like a kind of 5-year period. So,
Dang, that's a lot. So people who like to binge, there you go. We will open the time capsule from May of 1998 in order to set the stage of the time, the movie we're covering. What was going on at that time? Now, for me, I'm in high school at this time. Are you in junior high school, or what do they call it in the UK?
They just call it high school. We go to primary school from the ages of like 5 to, I don't know, like 11.
Okay.
And then we go to high school from the age of 12 to 18. Is that right? Yeah, that sounds about right.
So like 7th grade, that's considered high school?
No.
12.
Or is it? No, it's 12. No, it must be. No, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. It must be 13. No, it's 13. It's
Okay.
13. It would be the equivalent to 8th grade.
Eighth?
Yes.
Okay.
So we do primary school, which is primary 1 to 7, and then we do high school. And first year of high school would be the equivalent of your 8th grade school. Yes, because this 1998 would have been the year I went into high school when I turned 13. Yeah,
Got
that's
it.
right.
Oh, well, so technically speaking, we were both in high school, but in America, you would have been in junior high or middle school. or
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
Yeah. So anyway,
Okay, cool.
similar. So I have like far better memories of this time than the movies that were in the 80s or even earlier in the 90s. So hopefully this will be fun. Popular TV, according to the Nielsen ratings of the 97-98 season, this is the finale of Seinfeld, the finale season. ER,
Very good.
ER as well. I remember that show being big. And then Veronica's
big.
Closet was in the top 10 shows. That show with Kirstie Alley. Did you ever see that?
Not really. I am aware of it. No, I did. I think it was, I think it was on somewhere, but it's not one I really watched.
Okay. It came up in a prior episode because the guy, her love interest in that, must have been in the movie.
Mhm.
I remember enjoying it. She runs like a lingerie company and she's the boss and her name is
Right.
Veronica. Any guess what other big show was real big at this time?
Real big at this time.
A sitcom?
Friends?
Friends. Yeah. Friends. This was like prime
Okay.
Friends time.
Yeah, I guess it was. Yeah, for sure.
Touched by an Angel, which I never watched. Did you watch that show?
No. I'm not even sure if that made it to the UK. Like, I recognize the
Mhm.
title, but I don't know. No, I never watched
I
it.
think the
No.
lady is British, actually. Her name is
Right.
escaping me right now, but long dark hair, pretty woman. Anyway, you guys know who I'm talking about. Union Square. Never heard of that show. Must have been a one
No.
season. Anybody who's seen Union Square, please let us know. I am unfamiliar with this show, never even heard of it. Also, though, Home Improvement was a big show with Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Tim Allen. Yeah. Yeah, no, I remember that show. That was definitely on in the UK, and I definitely watched.
The X-Files, which I thought that was more early 90s, but I guess
It ran for years though.
Okay.
Like, I think it started in 93 or 94,
uh-huh.
but it ran like the initial run ran through to, it was like 10 seasons, so it ran through till 2003 or
Oh,
something.
well, then that makes sense. I remember catching it from time to time, but I wasn't like a hardcore fan of the X-Files.
Yeah. I think this would have been kind of the peak of the X-Files,
Mhm.
because the X-Files movie would have come out in 98 as well. I remember the X-Files movie. I was into the X-Files. I liked all kind of sci-fi shows.
I didn't even know there was a movie. Was it with the same
There's-
actor?
yeah.
Like the
Yeah,
David
yeah.
Duchovny?
Yeah. I can't remember because there's it kind of bridges like a couple of seasons. Like, the movie is kind of a weird movie because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you've not seen. It's like it kind of connects to the season finale of, I think, season 4 and the first episode of, I think, season 5. I think that's where it bridges.
Interesting. And I would have guessed, I'm not shocked that you were a sci-fi person or that you're a sci-fi person. Somehow that train missed me. But I did watch Just Shoot Me with David Spade.
Oh, the David Spade show?
Yeah.
Okay.
I loved that
Ah.
show. The people in it were really funny.
Yeah, I only caught a couple of episodes of that. Some of the other sitcoms you've mentioned, like Home Improvements and Friends and The Seinfeld, I watched and was a big fan of. But Just Shoot Me was one of those ones that kind of, I saw a few episodes of it, but I never really got into it.
I can see that. So those were the top shows. There were some other shows that were notable in that this was their final year. Obviously, we
Mhm.
talked about Seinfeld, but that was an event, apparently, like a 2-part. That was on NBC. And people, I feel like, still talk about how terrible that finale was. Do you have thoughts or feelings either way?
I quite enjoyed it. I don't like, basically people got upset that they all end up in jail. I enjoyed the final episodes. I think they're still funny. I think they still work. It's not prime Seinfeld. It's not the best, but I still enjoy it. I have to say, I wouldn't have been aware of this at the time necessarily, because I became a bigger fan of Seinfeld in the 2000s when I like bought them on like DVD, because Seinfeld was scheduled real weird in the UK. It was on BBC Two, which was one of the 4 main channels in the UK at the time. And it was on at 11 o'clock at night. And then, you know, you would get like a few episodes and it would disappear for a while. And then you get a few episodes. So it was, so I kind of only saw very sporadic until I like bought all the box sets.
That makes sense. I feel like it gained with me as well a little bit later. But I kind of liked the finale. Bringing back, in that it brought back all the characters from throughout the seasons to show what terrible people they all are. Anyway, that was an event. Other notable finales: Geraldo, the talk show host, he had a show and it ended. Grace Under Fire, Singled Out, the MTV show, ended 98. Step by Step with Patrick Duffy and Suzanne Summers ended this year. Living Single, Sybil, Murphy Brown, USA Up All Night. You probably didn't ever see this, I'm assuming. It was on the USA Network.
No. But because like a horror fan and like I've, you know, through kind of social media and stuff like that, and like through kind of people having kind of horror memories, I've become aware of it in the last kind of few years. I've seen clips of it now, so I know what it is.
Okay.
But no, it definitely wasn't on in the UK.
Oh my gosh, I kind of forgotten about it. It was like a show that basically just presented a movie, and during commercial breaks, they would have little segments on whatever. Like Gilbert Godfrey was one of the big hosts of it. And it would be like a cheesy horror movie or like a bad cheesy 80s movie or something, and it was on late at night on the USA Network. I'd love to hear you all's memory of USA Up All Night. I feel like there was like an Elvira person too. Woman.
Yes, I believe so. I want to say, I think she was called Rhonda something.
Oh, okay.
Was it?
Yeah, probably. Probably.
Um,
My memory's bad, but I can picture our living room growing up watching USA Up All Night. Also, I am a big fan of Téa Leoni, and she had a show called The Naked Truth. It was like a newspaper. I feel like she was a journalist.
Oh, okay.
And it ended in 1998, as did Family Matters, which was a huge show, TGIF, and Ellen, not the talk show, but her sitcom, ended in 98. And then some shows that started this year, Friday Night Fights, began in 98, apparently.
Never heard of it, but okay.
Oh, really? I sort of thought, yeah. I never really watched it, but I'm assuming it's boxing. Like it was a show and they aired fights Friday night. I feel like I've heard of it a lot. But in my teen years, I was not super into boxing aside from the Rocky movies.
Yeah. It's probably, it's probably something that just wasn't aired in the UK. It sounds like the sort of thing that I probably would have watched if it had been aired in the UK, but like...
I'm thinking like, I don't know, HBO maybe? Somebody is probably screaming, listening, like, oh my God, you idiot. Also, 98, this was the first season for The Hughleys, Charmed, The King of Queens, Sex and the City, Dawson's Creek. I just recently posted about Dawson's Creek starting. I hated that show. It was such a big thing, and I was very annoyed by everyone in it. I didn't like it. The show Jessie with Christina Applegate. I think it only lasted a few seasons, but I loved it. I'm a big fan of her. Anybody else watch Jessie? Also, Felicity. I didn't watch it, but it's that girl with the long curly hair. And I think she's in, I want to say the new show she's in that's really good is called The Diplomat.
Oh, all right.
Carrie, like on Netflix or one of the streamers, The Diplomat.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. That actress who's also in The Americans.
Yeah.
Oh,
Felicity.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. What's her real name? At any
I
rate.
can't.
Also, Total Request Live, TRL, on MTV. Did you guys watch that? Do you remember that?
When I was a kid, we didn't have Sky. We didn't have like cable or anything. We just had the 4 channels, so we didn't get anything like.
Got it.
So if we had Sky, we might have been able to watch it. MTV was available in the UK if you had Sky. Like, we didn't have any of that.
Got it.
So, no, I didn't see any of those shows.
Well, I remember Total Request Live, TRL, being a huge deal. Probably in the early 2000s, a lot. Like Carson Daly was the host, you know, and like I'm of the age where I really care about who all the young cool are, like Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake and boy bands and stuff. Another show that premiered that's kind of been in the news a lot lately for a notorious actor in it, that 70s show. It started
Right,
in
yeah.
98. I don't know if I realized that.
I didn't think it'd be as far back as that.
Yeah.
I thought it would have been like early 2000s, like 2000, 2001, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what I thought, but 98. Yeah. 2 guys and a girl. I remember this. It's like a pizza place they all worked at or something. It didn't last all that long.
Is that the Ryan Reynolds one?
Ooh. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. Good call. And Will and Grace. I do remember 98 being about its first year, and I adore that show. Did you ever watch Will and Grace?
Yes. Yes, I did. Because there's basically one of the 4 channels that we got as
NBC.
was in the UK was Channel 4, which showed a lot of the American sitcoms, and Will and Grace was one of them. They tended to show them on a Friday night, like Friends and. You know.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious now because yes, so Friends, ER, Will and Grace, those were all on NBC, and they might have even been on the same night. I want to say Thursday night was like must-see TV here. So when you saw those shows, I don't know why my dumb brain was like, well, you just got NBC, but you didn't. What?
No, we did not. No, Channel 4 bought all those. Oh, the 3 shows you mentioned were all on Channel 4. Yeah, no, they were just bought by the different
network,
TV stations we have.
Duh, Katie. The only other one, Whose Line Is It Anyway, premiered in 1998. I feel like,
So this
is that still on? It ran for a
I
really
don't know.
long time, though.
it did run for a really long time. Yeah, curiously, that's one of those shows that has like both an American version and a British version,
Oh.
and they used to kind of show both.
Who is in the, would I be familiar with the people that were in the British version?
No,
No. Okay.
no.
All right. Moving on. Let's see what the top 10 billboards were from the very specific week that Black Dog came out. So May 1st, 1998. Oh my God. The number 1 song. I still love this song. If I'm out like somewhere, like at a bar and this comes on, Too Close by Next. Do you know the song I'm talking about? Like,
I
step
don't.
back, you're dancing kind of close. That one?
That does sound kind of familiar.
I feel
But
I love it. And that's probably a one-hit wonder by Next.
sure, right.
But great song. Shania Twain has the number 2 song with You're Still the One. I remember that being big. I'm not a country person, but Shania had a lot of crossover and very pretty poppy country songs. The number 3 song is called Let's Ride, and it's by Montel Jordan featuring Master P and Silk the Shocker. This is so very 98. Yeah, great song. Casey and JoJo has the number 4 song with All My Life. I'm sure you know that one.
Possibly.
All my life, I pray for someone like you. The number 5 song is Frozen by Madonna.
Yeah, I know that one.
You do? That's so funny because I'm like, what's Frozen?
Yeah, I don't know why. I remember she's kind of I remember it's got like a weird video. She's like out in the desert or something. Like it's
Oh.
got some.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but I was like, God, I love Madonna too. And I'm like, God, what's Frozen? The number 6 song is called Body Bumpin' Yippee Yi-Yo by Public Announcement. That's certainly a one-hit wonder. I think you'll recall the number 7 song by Savage Garden, very 90s, with Truly Madly Deeply. Do you remember that one?
I wanna stand with you on a mountain. I wanna bathe with you in the sea.
I do.
This is so very like late 90s, as is the number 8 song by Everybody Backstreet's Back by the Backstreet Boys.
Yes, it's interesting because there's a bunch of them that I just not aware of at all, and it's funny as well because I decided just because I knew that this, and I knew that the charts are quite different in the US. Okay,
Mhm.
I was like, I wonder what the charts look like in the US. So, and the only one that's the same is Truly Madly Deeply
Really?
by Savage Garden. The only one that's the same in the top 10.
Well, so Romeo and Juliet by Silk E. Fine featuring Chill was the number 9 song. And number 10, I remember this being huge, this like all summer. It was like the summer song. Sex and Candy by Marcy Playground. Was that in your top 10 too?
Not for that week, but I do remember that song. I don't know, maybe things were released at a different time as well. I think, yeah, some of the ones in the UK top 10 are very British, so
Would I know
they
them?
didn't. I don't know. I mean, I can run through them quickly
Sure.
if you want. Okay, so at 10 we've got Teardrop by Massive Attack.
Not ringing a bell?
Do you know who Massive Attack are?
No,
Oh.
I don't.
Okay. They're a really cool band. They're a trip hop band that were very big in the 90s. So then at number 9 we've got Push It by Garbage, who were like a kind of alt rock
Oh,
band.
I loved Garbage. Yeah.
At number 8, Dance the Night Away by the Mavericks, which is like a kind of country, American kind of country thing.
Okay.
Thing on My Mind by Steps, who were like a kind of girl group band.
Heard of Steps. Yeah.
Truly Madly Deeply at number 6, Savage Garden.
Oh, funny.
Like That by Run DMC versus Jason Nevins, which was like a remix of an old Run DMC
Yeah.
Run DMC song.
Okay.
That was really big in 98. That was one of the biggest hits in 98, in the UK anyway. All That I Need at number 4 by Boyzone, who were a big Irish band at the time. Feel It by Tampere featuring Maya at number 3, which was a one-hit wonder.
Okay.
Ray of Light by Madonna at number 2.
Now, I very much remember Ray of Light.
Yeah, I guess that was a big hit. And then at number 1, Under the Bridge / Lady Marmalades by the All Saints, who were a girl group.
Oh. Okay, cool. Well, that's interesting. Thank you for those.
Sorry.
Before we get into the movie, there's some news and events, one of which you could probably school me on, which is the Good Friday Agreement is accepted in a referendum in Northern Ireland with 75% voting yes. Do you remember that at all?
Yes, it was a very big thing at the time. It was like seen as a kind of an early victory for Tony Blair's government. I didn't read massively into it because at the time I would have only been quite 13.
Yeah.
But I was aware of it. It was on the news a lot. We listened to the news a lot. Dad was quite political, and I became quite political because of that, really. It was a very big deal, and I think it was seen as kind of one of the first kind of triumphs of kind of Tony Blair government, because Tony Blair had just been elected in 97.
Oh, yeah.
Which was like a big deal at the time because Labour hadn't been in power for 18 years, and
The Unabomber, aka Ted Kaczynski, was sentenced to 4 life sentences plus 30 years which is strange, but that was actually a plea agreement to avoid the death, because he would have received the death penalty. Did you guys hear about that over in across the pond?
Yeah. Yes. I would. Yes, that news did drift over, for sure.
There were several weddings. I guess May is a popular wedding month. Maybe that's why. But Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman, I remember them being like a big Hollywood couple. They married and they divorced in 2005. Lance Armstrong got married to Kristen Richard in May of 98. They divorced in 2003. Jim Belushi married Jennifer Sloan in their home garden, and they are actually still married. Supermodel Cindy Crawford married restaurateur Randy Gerber in the Bahamas, and I think that they're also still married. Are you a Beastie Boys fan? Or were you?
Yes. Yeah. Got a few of their albums, yeah.
So I am going to mispronounce his name because I don't know how to pronounce it. Adam Yauch. One of the
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah. He married, I don't remember this, but he married the daughter of a prominent Tibetan activist, Deshen Wangdu, in New York.
Right. I didn't know who he was married to, but I did know he was into Buddhism, so
That makes sense, yeah. And
I can't remember if it's Yauch or Yauch.
yeah, I
honestly,
don't know.
can't-
Somebody will
I
have
can't
to
remember.
correct me. But they did stay married until he passed away, obviously, in 2012. So they were still married at that time. Frank Sinatra died May of 98. He was 82. And do you remember hearing about Phil Hartman's murder? The comedian Phil Hartman?
Yeah, this is one of those strange things where I'm not sure if I heard about it at the time.
Yeah.
I definitely, maybe a couple of years later, would have heard about it, or I'm aware of the murder, I'm aware of the circumstances and everything went on with that, and I think Phil Hartman's great, but I just don't know if I actually heard it at the time or not. It's one of those things of like how memory works, and you're like, was I actually aware?
Yeah, the mind is a funny thing. But unfortunately, yeah, he was murdered by his wife in his sleep, and he was only 49. So, yeah, he was great. Talented dude. Okay, so Black Dog. I am sure that the vast majority of people have not seen Black Dog before. I had not, and I am assuming you had not either, Scott.
That is true, I hadn't.
It did not do well. So of the month of May, there were a bunch of big movie releases that I'll talk about, but Black Dog came in number 12 at the box office for May. But the big box office movies here anyway were Deep Impact, Godzilla, The Horse Whisperer, City of Angels, He Got Game. That's still like probably one of my favorite movies ever. I love He Got Game. A tiny little movie called Titanic. So what's hilarious is, so this is May. It's still like the number 4 or 5 movie. It was released in December the prior year. So 6 months later, it's still in the theater, and like topping the box office. That's wild.
Yeah, the whole Titanic thing was crazy.
Did you go to it at the theater?
I did not.
Oh.
No, I didn't have a lot of interest in it. And then because it was just like, there was nothing but Titanic. It was, and so eventually when it came out to, be able to rent on VHS, we had at the time, the
Yep.
we had
Yep.
at the time. I was like, fine, I'll rent it and I'll watch it. Because it was just, it got to the stage where it felt like everybody had seen it. So I felt like I was required to have an opinion.
Yes.
And I was like, fine, I'll watch it. And then I was like, I don't like it.
Oh, hot take. Do you still not like it?
I probably liked it more than when I first watched it. I mean, there's things that I don't like about it. It's not the type of movie for me.
Okay. I can see that.
And it's not because it's a romance. There's other romance movies that I enjoy. It's just like, it's done in this particularly cheesy, sentimental way that rubs me up the wrong way. And some of the characters are really annoying. And I don't think Leonardo DiCaprio's all that good in it. I guess I wasn't much of a Leonardo DiCaprio fan at the time, or up until kind of the last decade.
Mhm.
I've kind of changed my mind about him. But yeah, I found his character a bit irritating. I found Rose a bit irritating. I found it generally a bit of an aggravating film.
Interesting. I'll have to
and
rewatch it to see. I haven't seen it in a very long time.
But again, I think like I've definitely softened on it than when I first watched it. I just don't think it's a movie for a 13-year-old boy,
No.
really.
No, it wasn't. I remember going to it though with my boyfriend because let's see, I would have been like 16, 17 maybe. So I went to it was, yeah, it was a
Yeah,
good
sure.
movie for boyfriend
Yeah,
girlfriend to go
makes
to at
sense.
that age. And speaking of renting it and or buying it on VHS, it was 2 tapes. It was a movie long enough that
Oh,
they had to put it on
that's right.
2 tapes.
That's right.
So then Bulworth was also a big movie. Quest for Camelot, Everest, and Les Miserables, which I still have not seen.
Yes, I'm not seeing any of the Les Mis films.
Yeah, speaking of some like that, nothing about that draws me in. Apparently, I mean, it's supposed to be so great, but I'm like, I don't know if I'll like it. Anyway, those were the big movies. Scott, as you are probably aware, season 1 of Retromade is based around both Kurt Russell and Patrick Swayze, who I am calling the ultimate everyman. You clearly like Kurt Russell because you also had a season of his films. Do you have any additional tidbits you'd like to share about either Kurt or Patrick?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I'm a fan of Kurt Russell. That's why we did the 90s season on Kurt Russell. And he's been in some of my favorite movies as well. The Thing is one of my favorite films of all time. Escape from New York is one of my favorite 80s action films. So yeah, I've always, for a long time, been a big fan of Kurt Russell. A little side note, it was actually a really fun season to do,
Yeah.
Kurt Russell
I bet.
season, because movies were fun, and also when you researched the behind the scenes stuff, it was all good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically for the Seagal season, it was like a nightmare. It was just like, and then he did this, and then he had, physically assaulted this stuntman, then he sexually harassed this woman, like it was just constant nightmare stuff. And then the Stallone stuff, less of a nightmare, but a lot of diva behavior
Yeah.
of like him butting heads with writers and directors and kind of like swaggering around. So less depressing, but still kind of annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Kurt was always like, no bad notes about Kurt. Any movie that I researched into, it was always like, Kurt was a great guy.
I love
He was
that.
super professional. That's all I got. So I've never read anything bad about him. So that was, and I am less aware of the films of Patrick Swayze, but cutting back to my podcast, he is in one of my favorite 90s action films, Point Break, which I love. So that's my favorite Patrick Swayze movie. And
Okay.
yeah, I love Point Break. It would be in kind of my 90s action list of 90s action films that I love. It'd be like top 5.
Ooh, that's pretty high praise. High
Yeah.
praise. So a lot of the movies that Scott just talked about, guys, we've either covered or will be covering on Retromade. What about Roadhouse? That's one of my
I
favorites.
do. Yeah. No, Roadhouse is great. I think that's a really fun. So yeah, I can't go wrong. Yeah, I just because trailer dropped like yesterday. Have you seen the trailer remake with Jake Gyllenhaal?
Well, we talked about it's late. No, I have not seen the trailer yet, but I will be I'll do kind of like an add-on. But we talked about the remake coming with the guys that I did the Roadhouse episode with, and none of us are fans of remakes, but this one I said, I do like Jake Gyllenhaal, so I will give it a chance, but it is sort of like, don't touch Roadhouse. How was the trailer?
Truly looked alright. I was surprised. Like, I didn't know much about it other than Jake Gyllenhaal was it. So I was surprised when, like, Conor McGregor was one of the henchmen, bad guys. I was like, oh, he's doing movies now. So hopefully, I'm sure that would have been an interesting experience for Jake Gyllenhaal. Hopefully, Conor wasn't coked off his head.
Yeah, well, hey, listeners, stay tuned because there will be a little bit of a little bonus episode covering that, and we'll see because we were all like, Conor McGregor makes us less want to see the movie. Yeah, for lots of reasons.
Yes.
So, if you've listened to the show, I clearly think that our everymen, Kurt and Patrick, have similar features, that they look kind of alike. Do you at all think that, or do you think that I'm a crazy person?
I don't think you're a crazy person. I had just never thought about it. I'd never thought about it. It never occurred to me. It never occurred to me that they looked similar at all. But then the more I looked at the kind of banner photo on your Facebook page for Retromade and kind of looked at the two of them side by side, I was like, I can see it. All right.
You're not sold, but you can see it a little.
But
Okay.
I can definitely see it. But because like I just thought of them as different. And also like when I was looking them up as well, I was like, for some reason, I guess because I feel in the 80s Patrick played kind of younger roles. So like I was
Good
surprised that they're only a year apart.
Yep.
Just because for the longest time, Kurt, like even in the 80s, was playing kind of middle-aged guy roles, like a lot of the time.
Such a good point. Patrick's
So I think of him as much older. Yeah.
really good point. I hadn't thought of that, but you're right. Yeah, Kurt does. It's like for 30 years he's played middle-aged roles, and Patrick is playing like
exactly.
a teenager or something. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, shall we finally get into the movie Black Dog? Black Dog was released May 1st, 1998, rated PG-13. It's only got a 5.5 out of 10 IMDb rating, which I have thoughts about that I'll get to later. The director is Kevin Hooks. I mean, he doesn't have a ton of credits, but he is known for directing Passenger 57, and then he's probably got a lot more TV directing. So, like 14 episodes of the TV series Prison Break, 5 episodes of This Is Us, and a bunch of other stuff. The writers, there's 2 of them, and neither of them were well known to me anyway. William Mickleberry and Dan Vining. And the music was the soundtrack of mostly like country music because we have a country star in it. But the music is done by George S. Clinton, who I believe to be like a pretty well-known country artist. Are you at all into country? I'm like pretty ignorant with it.
I'm pretty country as well. I'm very much more of a rock metal person. So I'm like, and also I was just confused because I was like, this is all country music, and like the music came up composed by George S. Clinton, and my first thought was, what's George Clinton, the guy from like Funkadelic? No, totally different George Clinton.
Hence the S. But yeah, I feel like he's like a well-known country star or person.
Okay, so all country fans.
I know
listening
they're
for my
probably
complete
yelling.
entrance.
They're yelling at us. Well, also because the name of the movie is like a well-known Led Zeppelin song too. So
Yeah, that's right.
right.
Yeah.
But that's not why it's
See,
called
that I do know.
But that's not why it's called that. We'll get to why it's called
No.
Black Dog. But so we have our Patrick Swayze. He plays Jack Cruz. He's our main character. And then kind of the second lead is Randy Travis, a young Randy Travis, and his name is Earl. I think everybody probably has at least heard of him, but yeah, he's a musical artist. But I didn't realize that he was in so many, he has acted in a lot of things. I didn't realize that. So he was also in Deep Impact, and The Rainmaker. And we have another musical, like it's just full of musical artists. Meatloaf, which I feel like he has come up in Retromade a lot lately. Like his song was in one of the top 10 in a prior episode. And then I guess I personally just recently watched for the first time ever the movie The Squeeze with Michael Keaton. Have you ever seen that?
Oh,
I hadn't.
never heard of
I
it.
had not, and it's like a late 80s movie, but Meatloaf plays a bad guy in that movie also. So I didn't know Meatloaf was like such an actor either, but he plays Red.
Yeah.
And he's actually, I didn't realize this, but he is known a lot more for some like Broadway musicals like Hair and Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I have not seen either one of those, which I know is like blasphemous,
Oh,
right?
wow.
I know.
So yeah, Meatloaf. It's interesting because yeah, I'm sure like Meatloaf's acting career is much more extensive. But I always just thought of him as a musician, and then he starred in like Rocky Horror Picture Show and Fight Club, and I thought that
Oh
was
yeah,
his
that's
entire
right. He is
football.
in Fight Club. Yeah, yeah. He's been in a lot, I guess. I just find him strange, like his very being odd. I don't know. Maybe it's the name. Does anyone else
Yeah, I
feel
could,
this way?
be. He was an eccentric guy.
Yeah.
Like he would like deliberately kind of make things up, not in a kind of like lying in a kind of devious way, just in a kind of mischievous way, where he would just lie about like details of his biography, like his age and stuff like that, in interviews, just for his own amusement, kind of.
That is interesting. I did not know that. Good tidbit. Then some of the other characters, there's quite a few familiar faces in this. Gabriel Cassius plays Sonny. Actually, you know what I might do is read the description first and then come back to the cast, because that might help make the cast make a little more sense. If anyone has seen this movie before, I desperately want to hear from you and get your thoughts. But we are going to spoil it. So watch it and then come back to the episode. But the description for those of you who maybe haven't seen it in a while or most likely have not seen it, we have an ex-truck driver, Jack Cruz. That's our Patrick Swayze. He's released from prison for vehicular manslaughter after losing control and hitting a stranded motorist. His family is in danger of losing their house. They have a foreclosure notice. So he takes a job from his boss driving a truck up from Atlanta. They're in New Jersey. Off the books, so to speak. And the trailer of the truck is loaded with illegal artillery, and Red, Meatloaf, is hellbent on hijacking it. Jack teams up with Earl, who's our Randy Travis, to deliver the load and save his family. So that's the descriptions. We've gone through Jack and Earl and Meatloaf, who plays Red, and then there's these two guys that are, I don't know if this is a thing, but they drive, apparently when there's this felony being done, hauling illegal items in a semi-truck trailer. Best practice must be to have some protection cars follow it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Sonny and Wes are. They drive in this, it's a very 90s car. It's a blue, it's either like a Firebird or a Trans Am or something, and it's got T-tops. Are you a car person? Do you know?
I'm not a car person.
But it's that kind of a car. I want to say it's a Trans Am Camaro Firebird type car. They drive behind the truck as like protection. So that's Sonny, played by Gabriel Cassius. He was in Black Hawk Down and some music videos, but he's got a familiar face. Brian Vincent plays Wes, the other guy that drives in that blue car. He's not well known, but I did take note that he was a Juilliard graduate. And then we have the boss who hires Patrick Swayze's character. His name in the movie is Mr. Cutler. More on that later if that sounds familiar to anyone. He is played by Graham Beckel. He did look familiar, but like he's not super well known. I noted that he was in LA Confidential and also Escape Plan for any Stallone fans out there. like me. He was an escape plan. And then Melanie, Jack's wife, is played by Brenda Strong. Did you recognize her, Scott?
Like a lot of people in this movie, I recognized her face, and then like I looked her up, and I was kind of like, oh, it's not like I recognize her for any role necessarily. It's just like seen her in a bunch of TV stuff, which it seems to be the same for a lot of the people in this.
Yep.
Where I like just recognize their face and be like, oh, it's just they popped up in so many things.
Lots of
that
stuff.
It's just one of those faces.
Yeah, that's a good way of describing the whole cast, aside from like our top 3 people. But Brenda Strong, those of you who watched the giant TV series Desperate Housewives, she's the one who's dead, but she narrates the show. That's her biggest credit, in my opinion.
Okay, cool.
And then FBI agent Ford is played by Charles S. Dutton, and he's like a super, like, you all know who Charles S. Dutton is. You might even remember the name or recall the name. A very familiar character actor. He's won Emmys for several of his guest spots on TV shows, including Oz. He was also in the movie Rudy, Aliens 3, and he was the sheriff in A Time to Kill. And then his kind of counterpart that he playfully fights with, there's animosity between agencies. So it's the FBI and the ATF. So the ATF agent, McLaren, he's a very familiar character actor, is played by Stephen Tobolowsky. He has like almost 300 acting credits. So
Yeah, he's in just a million and one things.
a million, yeah, yes.
Yeah. And Charles S. Dutton and Stephen Tobolowsky both been covered on our podcast. Well, Charles S. Dutton appears in Surviving the Game, which will be our February episode.
That's right.
And Stephen Tobolowsky was the serial killer in Glimmerman, which we covered in our very first Steven Seagal season.
I did not see that movie. I am not a fan of.
You don't need to.
I'm not a fan of the Steven Seagal, but I did listen to your episode about it.
It's not one of the best. It's kind of a Seven ripoff. It's not very good. It's
Good to know.
We watched it, so
we don't have to. Okay. Yes. Like, he's in a ton of TV shows too. He played Clayton in Mississippi Burning, Ned in Groundhog Day, and he was also, I feel like, one of the like police people in Thelma and Louise. But he was in a ton of episodes of Californication as Stu Beggs. He was Hugo in Deadwood. So the name may not sound familiar to you guys, but you do know his face. I promise you that. All right. So this movie cost $30 million to make, and it only made $13 million. I wonder why that is. Do you have thoughts about that?
It could be that there was other big releases and it just got overshadowed by that, and it just got drowned out by the bigger releases that you talked about in the top 10. But I think, like, also, even though, and I'm sure we'll get into it, there is elements of this film that very, very 90s. It is also like a film kind of out of time, in the sense of this is a movie that feels like it should have come out in 1978 and starred Burt Reynolds. That's
so funny. There probably is a movie, and we just haven't seen it about that.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, there is movies like that,
Yeah.
like, you know, whether it's the Smokey and the Bandit films or like White Lightning, Gator, all those kind of, all those 70s Burt Reynolds. But like that very specific kind of like that late 70s period was like Smokey and the Bandit, Dukes of Hazzard, came on, all that kind of stuff. Everything was about kind of like that kind of the South and car chases. And I feel like it's a kind of like a late 70s movie made in the late 90s.
Interesting.
So maybe it just doesn't connect.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's an interesting take. I didn't get that feel, but I see what you're saying. I had literally like never, it's not like this was shown on cable, like a lot of other action movies over and over. I'm not really sure. It really just missed us all. So, well, with that, do you have any overall impressions of the movie?
So my overall impressions is like, I enjoyed the movie. I'm not convinced it's a good movie,
Okay.
but I did definitely enjoy it. And it is very good. The movie is very good when it's doing action stuff.
Yes, I agree.
It's excellent. All the stunts are excellent. All the car chases are excellent. All the way the action is filmed is great. It looks great. Everything looks great. Everything's on point. It's the things in between that don't work so much.
Mhm.
And I'm sure there are some things about this movie that really confuse me.
Go on.
That I'm basically, the thing that confuses me about this movie is like the essential plot of the film, in the sense of I don't understand what the villains are doing. I don't understand, like, basically Jack is taking these illegal arms to a place, and he's supposed to take them to the place, dump them off at the place, and then that's it, right? But then Red tries to hijack it.
Mhm.
So at first I'm like, why are the villains hijacking their own illegal gun loads? And then I was like, oh no, but it's okay, because other guys, like the main
Yeah.
villain, so Red is betraying the main villain. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Then I'm like, but then why? But then Jack is agreed that he will take the guns to the place because he's got no choice and whatever. So why is the main villain Cutler obsessed with getting Jack and not getting Red, who's betrayed him? And if Red hasn't betrayed them, then it makes even less sense because they're just hijacking their own loads. So I was just like, throughout the film, I was just like, usually I don't get into the logic of like action plans, because usually they're nonsense. You know, like I watch a Bond movie, the villain plan is usually nonsense, and usually I'm fine with. But with this particular one, I kind of got really hung up on it. I was like, I just don't. This doesn't make any sense. None of this makes any sense. And also, like, Cutler is not like a great villain, and you know, he doesn't seem to have a very big gang. And then once all of Red's gang is taken out, then he has to do everything himself. His gang is just him and his henchmen, his head henchmen. I was like, he should be more worried about that than Jack. You know, like, his whole operation's gone down the sink. And, like, he's not prioritizing at all.
He's a bad manager. No, that's so funny. So I don't know if I was like, I must have been in a very forgiving mindset watching it, because I was like, this good. I had such little expectation of the movie. And so sometimes that happens, but I agree. I was actually impressed by this movie. I'm like, dang, it's all for all the reasons you said. It's really done well. But yes, there are some pieces in the story. I agree with you that I was confused by Cutler. So the boss Cutler's the boss, and he forces Patrick Swayze's character Jack to take this load, and he knows it's illegal, and he's forcing his hand. But then there's a point at which, along the journey, Cutler goes to kidnap or take hostage Jack's wife and daughter. And I was like, why? I don't really understand why. But then I was like, well, I think he got word things weren't going well, and that perhaps Jack is thinking about, like, he understands the FBI is now on their track. And so he's thinking that Jack is going to give him up. And so that's why Cutler is holding Jack's family hostage, to ensure the safe arrival of the load. That's kind of how I explained it away.
Yeah, I guess so. But I just don't understand. The thing that I don't understand, I guess, is the thing with Red. Either Red has been told to do that, which is confusing, or Red is betraying Cutler, and Cutler is more focused on Jack, more obsessed with Jack than he is on Red basically sinking his whole operation.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So the way that I understood it is Red is betraying Cutler.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense.
And so he's hijacking the load that he helped set up for his boss, Cutler. You're right, Cutler. I just think that's like the part 2, like the sequel. We just haven't gotten to the point where Cutler is aware, like, he's focusing on one thing at a time. I want those weapons, and I'll deal with the fact that I have a traitor in my force later. Yeah, I don't know.
I get maybe that's the best rationalization. Yeah, probably.
Because we
Yeah,
do
well.
just have to go with it. There are bits that are flimsy, but I actually even think that the characters, they weren't just cardboard cutouts. Like the four guys who are on this adventure together, like Randy Travis. At first, I was like, yeah, why is there even another guy? But they explain that he's there because he has to drive the cab back to Georgia. Once they drop the load off, then he's going to leave and bring it back. Okay. Then there's the guys in the like Camaro car following. One of them is an idiot and he turns out to be the mole. He's a mole telling the FBI because all along, like they're like, how does the FBI keep knowing where we are at all times? There's a mole, but then there's also, I didn't see it coming. Did you see coming that Sonny? So spoiler alert, guys, Sonny, who has bonded with Patrick Swayze's character, like in a real way. I didn't think they were just interchangeable. I don't know.
I agree with that. No, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see it coming that there was a mole from the FBI. But then once it was revealed that there was a mole from the FBI and they tried to keep it up, who's the mole? I was like, it's Sonny, because it makes the most sense. Because Earl is clearly like Patrick Swayze's sidekick
Yeah.
for the movie. Wes is clearly an idiot, so it had to be Sonny.
But Wes is the one, I guess, wasn't Wes the one who has been making calls, reporting where they are?
Oh, to Red. Yes.
Oh, to Red.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
yes,
right.
yeah.
So we have a mole. That's how Red keeps finding them. So yeah,
We've got two moles.
Yes.
Sonny's the FBI mole, and Wes is Red's mole.
So along this journey, listeners, sorry, it doesn't sound like it's that interesting, but there's a lot of action, like a lot of action, car chase scenes, explosions, crashes, fighting scenes. I think that's all done extremely well, and there is a lot of it. So we both have the FBI and the ATF. So we cut between scenes of them working together, but it's like agency versus agency. So I don't know why both of them are involved, but they are. So they're tracking their whereabouts. And then Red and his like dumb, like he's portrayed to be really stupid junior. And I even thought that was cute. Every person has a personality, except for Cutler. But like our four guys and then Red and some of those guys, they do have personalities. And he keeps showing up with either like a car jamming into them or he boxes them in with a couple of other semis. And so there's always trouble along the way. Nothing is smooth sailing. So yes, we have Sonny, who turns out to be an undercover FBI agent, and he has put a tracker in the trailer part. And later there's a scene where Patrick Swayze, after Sonny has already told him, he's come clean about it because they've bonded. And again, spoiler alert, Sonny dies because he got shot and he dies. So he tells Patrick Swayze this, I'm FBI, just so you know. So anyway, so then Patrick Swayze finds that tracker and puts it on another semi to throw the FBI people off. Wes, he's the mole to Red. So that's who we're talking about. I know it seems kind of confusing. So anyway, I was pretty entertained. I thought it was a pretty solid action movie. Because I expected so little perhaps, but it was way better than I thought it was going to be. And so the opening credits have this super like fast-paced, intense fiddle music over the opening credits.
That's true. It's got those kind of whooshy credit, the kind of whoosh across the screen, which is such a kind of late 90s, early 2000s thing. It just felt nostalgic just watching the credits. I was like, I remember.
Good point. You're right. That is very late 90s. I knew immediately what kind of movie. It was like, it set the stage for, okay, this is going to be like an intense situation because that's what's happening over the opening credits. And then immediately, like the opening scene is a car truck chase with Charles S. Dutton, like FBI guy. So we're immediately put into this world. And then we only later see Patrick Swayze's character he's like a mechanic. I don't know what kind of at a trucking company. Is that what he does?
Yeah. Yeah. That seems to be.
So it's 98. So when we're introduced, I loved it. I thought he looked still really good. So we have what would he be, like late 40s, probably, Patrick Swayze at this time?
I think he'd probably be like 45, 46, something like
Yeah.
that.
He, of course, still looks really good. He's got short hair. His face looked a little puffy, but I'm there for the Patrick Swayze all day, every day. And he still has a really nice physique and everything. So yeah, he's wearing like his outfit throughout the movie. It just looks really great. Jeans and a button down plaid shirt rolled up. You know that look, you guys? Like rolled up so you could see it's great.
He did look like I mean, I'm not watching it through the same
Yes, I
lens
know.
as yourself, but like from my lens, I was like, he does look pretty cool.
Yeah.
He does, because like you say, he's got the rolled up sleeves, and he's got like the kind of those leather driving gloves and
The
stuff.
fingerless
It's like-
gloves of it all. You guys, there's fingerless gloves. I mean, you know you're in for a
it's-
treat when
I was-
those come out.
I was like, he is looking pretty cool.
Mhm.
Well, I'm like, I was like, Jack Cruz, yeah.
Oh, what a name. That is a name I feel like Sylvester Stallone would have come up with.
Jack Cruz is a very kind of like boilerplate action movie name, isn't it?
Mhm.
It's like
Yep.
it's the name of an action hero. Yes, for sure.
It is. I somehow have seen like a lot of trucker movies. I don't know if this is a whole genre, but listeners, you will recall we had our other everyman, Kurt Russell, also played a trucker do you remember which movie, Scott? 80s movie.
80s.
He plays a trucker. Yeah, you'll know. Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, of course he plays a trucker in that
Yeah.
movie. Yeah, love that movie. Yes, of course. Yes,
Pork
that's
Chop
right.
Express.
Yeah. That's right.
So we have both Patrick and Kurt now playing truckers. And there's like another parallel that I'm a big Sylvester Stallone person. Did you?
Oh, Over the Top.
Cutler,
Top.
the boss, aka bad
Oh.
guy in both movies, is named Cutler.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So 3 movies now that have us thinking truckers are hot. Listeners, what other movies? I bet you there's more. What other movies about truckers? We've now had Sylvester Stallone, Kurt Russell, and Patrick Swayze, all super hot dudes playing truckers.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think of other truck movies. I can't remember. I know that I wouldn't say he's hot though. There's, Burt Reynolds' friend in Smokey and the Bandit. He's a trucker. There's a lot of trucks in that
Yeah.
movie. Yeah. I can't really remember Convoy now. I remember. There's a lot of truck movies in the kind of late.
Yeah,
70s,
you're right.
so,
You're
like-
spot on with that, actually. Yes. I'm a big dog person. Do you have cats
Sure.
or dogs? I feel like you've told me and I forgot.
We have 2 cats.
2 cats. Okay. I am also, when I say I'm a big dog person, I mean that in 2 ways. I love dogs, but also I like big dogs. So I'm a big dog person.
Mm.
There is a gorgeous, large black dog in this movie. It's all black and it's a pretty large pit bull with cropped ears, and people don't do that. I don't know why people do that. And he has I don't actually know if it's a boy or girl, but the studded collar. He's in the trailer. I think it's Earl's dog, but he's in the
Yep.
trailer part of the truck as like protection. He's like a guard dog, but he's not. I mean, we see him and we're supposed to think, oh my God, that's a vicious dog, but it's actually like a super sweet dog. Anyway, I thought the dog was absolutely stunningly gorgeous. Did you take note of the dog at all?
I did like the dog. Yeah, it's a cool dog.
I think we're supposed to be kind of scared of it at first because of
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. When he opens the door and it's growling at him
Mhm.
and all that kind of stuff, it looks like he's about to chew his arm off.
yeah, and just pit bulls with those short cropped ears. Oh, if he had floppy ears, he'd just I don't know why people do that. Anyway, the dog's name is Tiny, and it's Earl's dog. And Earl gets hurt at the end of the movie, and he asks Patrick Swayze and his family to take care of Tiny for him till everything blows over, I think he says. So there's an awesome dog in the movie, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Meatloaf's character had an interesting quirk about being, how shall I say? He was constantly like quoting the Bible, like he was super religious, like in a freakish way. While he's committing crimes and trying to murder people, he's like quoting Bible verses. What do you think that was all about?
Don't know. I think it was just. I'm not sure if it was about anything other than just to give him a quirk, just to give him like something that. Because I feel like that's very of the time as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like particularly kind of post Pulp Fiction, that kind of whole Tarantino influence that seemed to permeate 90s cinema, where sometimes characters were just given quirks for no other reason than just to give them quirks.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like this is in that realm.
Okay. Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, they were in the South. I took note of it though, because it was like, there's a lot of it.
I do wonder, like, I would be interested to hear, if any of your listeners are from, like, I don't know, like Georgia or Texas or whatever, like what their thoughts are on some of the characters. Because particularly Junior is like the cartoon stereotype of what people in the South of America are like, kind of like,
Yeah, like he's so dumb that he's yeah.
He's very much portrayed as the kind of cartoon version of Hicktown.
Mm-hmm. Like the mechanic. Yeah, because there's even an exchange between Meatloaf. Like he says something dumb, Junior, and Meatloaf is like, "Are you planning to have kids?" Meaning you shouldn't because you're too dumb to procreate. And he doesn't even get that part of it. He's, "Oh well, if I find the right lady, I might." I remember in the 90s. A game, like a car game that we played was Padiddle. Had you heard of that?
No, I hadn't heard of that. It's not something. I don't know if it didn't make its way to the UK or I just wasn't aware of it. I'm not sure, but yeah.
So I keep forgetting his name. Who's not Sonny, but
Wes.
Wes, thank you. He says it a few times. He's, "Let's Padiddle." I want to hear from listeners, if you're from the U.S. or not, had you heard of this? Because I took note of it because we did play it. So the idea is that at night, if a car has one of its headlights out, I don't know where the name comes, why, I don't know, for whatever reason, you yell Padiddle and hit the top of the car. And so Wes wants to play that a few times. The first time he says it, it's light out. And so he's like the dummy of their group. Sonny's like, "It's daytime." What? But Padiddle, it was a thing in this movie as well. The surprise is, because I was just in such an open, like my brain wasn't on at all, they got me twice in this movie. Like I did not see it coming, as we talked about, that Sonny is an FBI agent. So this movie actually kept me on my toes. Scott's probably laughing at me like, "You moron." And then the ending, there's a false ending.
Oh, yeah. No, the false ending didn't get me because I was like, we didn't see Red die. Ren has to come back. Because that plot thread was left hanging, then the film is not doing its job. I was like, well, Red has to come back. And then so like when its car came back, I was like, okay, movie, you've done well.
Oh, good.
Because if the end credits had happened there, I would have been annoyed. I would have been like, but Red was one of the main villains. He has to die on screen. He can't just be like, crash somewhere and be annoyed and then not turn up again. Like the whole main thrust of the movie is Red and chasing them this whole. So yeah.
Yeah, so we think the movie's over. So like the FBI, like the crime law element has been resolved. And so the family is just like kind of they're like, "Oh, drive the truck back to the impound lot." So now it's the family, Patrick, his wife, his daughter, and now the dog. They're this happy family. They're driving the truck wherever. And dumb me. I'm like accepting this, being like, yeah, that's great. They're talking about going to the basketball game. Like the daughter is, oh, are you guys going to come to my basketball game tonight? And earlier, Patrick has said something to her about getting her a pair of high top tennis shoes or something. And so he's, yeah, after we get you a pair of high top tennis shoes. So I'm like, I'm thinking that's the resolution. I'm like, oh, how sweet. And then boom, here comes Red, like sliding him. So it got me, you guys. There was a false ending and it wasn't over. There was one last action scene to take place.
And it was a good action scene. I love this. As much as I think there's like flaws in this movie, there are certain things that this movie does that I love. I love action movies where things are just very much of an action movie.
Mm-hmm.
Take you, they're out of the real world. Just really lean into action movie tropes. So, the action movie trope that this movie leans into is people who've watched action movies a lot will know everything explodes. Doesn't matter how, they just explode on demand.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens when, like, Red, has a spectacular crash. He crashes through a window and then he runs into his train and, like, his truck, explodes. And I love that. And there's some of them that are really funny and really ridiculous. There's one of the car chases where Jack kind of tells Sonny to do this particular driving maneuver because this car is like bashing in to Sonny's car. And he's, and like really hit the accelerator now. And then Jack hits the brakes. The car goes into the back of it, kind of lightly taps the back of the truck and just immediately explodes. And I was like, that's the kind of thing I watch action movies for.
There were a lot of explosions.
Doesn't make any sense why these explosions are happening. Everything just explodes on demand. It's amazing.
There was one that made sense because they hit like a gas pump and then like a truck carrying gasoline. So that one made sense. But I guess, like I said, I was just very open and I was there for it. And it was great. Also, you guys, another reason to watch is that we get Patrick Swayze channeling his toughness from his Roadhouse days playing Dalton. He's injured and he has to fix himself up, a la Dalton in Roadhouse. He cauterizes a wound with searing it with gunpowder. Is that what it was? Did I get that right?
That's right. Yes, he sears it with gunpowder. I love this. I love our action hero is so amazing that he's not done this before. He's not even seen somebody do it. He just heard somebody talk about this in prison and just immediately imbibed information and knew how to do it.
I mean, it's Patrick Swayze, of course. Yeah, Earl saw him do this and he asks about it later. And yeah, he tells him, oh, I heard about it in prison, blah, blah, blah.
I just wish I could learn like that. I could just like overhear information and then just know things. Just like
osmosis, sort of. I'm not a country person, so I'm like not familiar with Randy Travis. Like I know what he looks like, probably more so now, but we have a young Randy Travis. And when I saw him, I immediately was like, oh my God, he looks did you think he looked like anybody? No, just me. Mark
no.
Paul Gosselaar.
Paul Gosselaar.
Back from Saved by the Bell, but
like
when he's
you mean as he looks now?
Yeah. Like an older,
right.
like a grown up with a beard. Mark Paul Gosselaar.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, the bearded. No, I hadn't thought of that. That didn't strike me. But now I think about it. Yes, because I saw him in an action movie like last year or whatever. So yes, I can picture him as he is now.
The bit that we didn't talk about yet was the story of why the movie is called Black Dog. What did you think about that?
Right. I thought it was kind of I wasn't sure. Like it was pretty entertaining the way it was told. I was like, my first thought was like, is this a real thing? Because like, there's this kind of like black dog thing of if you've overextended yourself and then the black dog kind of comes and gets you. I was like, I wonder if this is like a real trucker superstition because obviously there's lots of professions have loads of superstitions,
Mhm.
particularly fishermen, sailors, kind of like that. You know, they're very superstitious people. That was my first thought. And then, but the way the flashback is done, I think, like, partly because it's like a CGI 1998 CGI Black Dog, and then partly because the actors, basically the vehicular manslaughter that he causes, the couple that they got in the flashback, like, they did such kind of hilarious kind of reaction shots that like they kind of went, you know, so it's supposed to be like this dark moment, but I ended up laughing because it was just so cartoonish. And then I felt bad about laughing
Yeah.
because I was like, this is supposed to be a dramatic moment, you know.
Yeah, so listeners, I too wondered, Scott, if this is a real like trucker legend. So there's
Yeah.
a story of the black dog. So Earl asks Jack, "Oh, like something like, did the black dog come to you or something?" And the idea is that you push yourself too hard, you're tired or whatever, and then this black dog in your brain, like in your mind, jumps up at your truck and causing at least Patrick to slam on his brakes, lose control of the vehicle, and then he runs into the motorists and kills them, and so that he goes to prison for it or whatever. And it's a dark, rainy night, and you know, whatever. But I guess to me, it was a bit anticlimactic, the story. Like, I thought there'd be more. I don't know. I wanted more from the story, especially considering it's literally the name of the movie. Like, that's
Film.
what it's about. But before we get, because we don't learn this legend or superstition or whatnot until towards the end of the movie. So I thought when we're introduced to the black dog, like the actual like black pit bull dog in the truck, I'm like, oh, is that why this is called Black Dog? I just went with that, and then nope, that's not why. So listeners, is this a real thing? What do you think?
Also, I didn't realize was like, because he has a dream features the black dog kind of early on in the movie.
That's right.
Then they kind of call back to it when Earl explains the superstition of the legend of the black dog or whatever. And then I remembered the dream scene from earlier on. And I was like, oh wait, that was supposed to be a dog? I wrote down in my notes, why is Patrick Swayze having a weird dream about a panther?
It did. It was a strange looking. I kind of thought maybe too. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, it's supposed to
Black Dog. Yeah. Yeah.
Fair
Similar.
enough.
Similar. There's not a lot of trivia. There usually is like a ton, but a few things that I took note of. One, this is not surprising to me at all because Patrick Swayze I just love him so much, and he really kind of takes a role on. He did actually go through a real truck driving school to earn his Class A CDL, commercial driver's license.
Yeah, oh, that's cool. That makes sense. I know that I've read that before, that Patrick Swayze did like a lot of his own kind of stunts and stuff like that. I do wonder, in terms of some of the stunts, I do wonder, you know, how much he did, because there's some that are pretty dangerous.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Particularly the one where he's like dangling off the side of the truck, and then his feet are kind of dangling, and then the car is kind of coming at him, and he has to lift his feet up and then put them back down, and then, you know, like all that. Yeah, I was like, even obviously, you know, in real life, very slow, and you know, all these kind of other actions around it and stuff like that. Still, I was like, if he's doing that himself, you know, that's hardcore. That
I wonder. Yeah, that is a dangerous stunt. I mean, he's not 25 anymore, but it's Patrick Swayze. So yeah, I don't know. Somebody let us know. All the thousands of people who've seen Black Dog. Okay, this one, the casting what ifs are always wild to me. This one is, I almost don't have words. I don't have words. Kevin Sorbo was originally signed to star instead of Patrick Swayze. Kevin Sorbo. Isn't he the Conan? What he played?
yeah, he played Hercules in the Legend of Hercules TV series.
Yeah, like
And yeah, like, yes, he played Hercules in the Hercules TV series in the late 90s. And that's what he's most famous for. That, and there was a sci-fi show called Andromeda.
Oh, he was in that. Okay.
that he was in that as well. But I think he's most famous for playing Hercules in the Hercules TV show. I have no idea why that man ever had a career. He is the blandest action star. There's some action stars that I'm not like a fan of. I know, like, I'm not a fan of Kevin Sorbo for a bunch of reasons, but just purely on his acting, he is one of the most wooden. No idea. I mean, I know, like, physique-wise, he's got, like,
Sure,
a decent
that's
physique
why,
or whatever,
I
which
guess.
is, I assume, is why he's played Hercules or whatever. But I couldn't watch that show. I like action shows like that. I love Xena, Warrior Princess, which is like a spin-off of that show. But I couldn't with Hercules because he's just such a terrible actor. One of the worst leading men of all time.
I fully agree. And I feel like Patrick Swayze is so talented as an actor. And so I'm like, what Twilight Zone are we working with where Kevin Sorbo was the original and he had to pull out due to medical problems? And they're like, oh, let's see. They got Patrick Swayze instead.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that is crazy. Patrick Swayze with second choice, Kevin Sorbo. But I've not seen tons of Patrick Swayze movies. I do like him in some things. He is 10 times the actor that Kevin Sorbo is. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even close.
Bazillion times. I mean, he's like a legit
absolutely
good actor. I mean, he's one of my Evermen, so I've covered him a lot. Plus, he's just like a great person, or what was. Rest in peace, Patrick. But I mean, one of the things that I commented on about this movie is that I didn't think the characters were cardboard cutouts. There was at least like each person had a personality. So I'm like, what were Kevin Sorbo? I don't know. It's wild to me. I'll let it go now.
I do think I'm absolutely with you because, like you say, he's a Patrick Swayze a million times better than Kevin Sorbo. But I do think it is one of those movies that has, despite bizarre possible casting choice, has been cast very well. And I think the reason that the characters aren't cardboard, because I think based on the script they could, is due to the acting. And they've just got these kind of great character actors like Charles S. Dutton, Stephen Tobolowsky, Meatloaf, all these people who have these like personalities that really brought that to the fore of the characters. And the same with Patrick Swayze. Jack Cruz could be a very standard boilerplate action hero, but
true.
he brings it a bit of emotion to it. And I think like Patrick Swayze is one of those action stars as well who's convincing as a dad. Not all action stars are, like a lot of them, particularly the kind of Clints and the, your Dolph Lundgrens and your Steven Seagals and all these kind of people, Jean-Claude Van Damme, they often play kind of lone wolf characters, and they make more sense as like lone wolf characters. Whereas you put them in a family context, you're like, that feels weird. But Patrick, much like Kurt, is one of the few action stars that makes sense as like a kind of, oh yeah, they do have like big dad energy.
Dad. I love that. They do, because there are everymen. Like they're just like a regular person, but better. Two other things. Gun smuggling investigations apparently are not actually in the jurisdiction of the FBI. So that is one thing. I'm not sure why that was a part of the movie. Kind of the agency fighting. I mean, maybe that adds a little bit of a layer, but just, I guess the FBI wouldn't have been there, just the ATF.
I guess we don't get the banter between Charles S. Dutton and Steven Tobolowsky. I did feel like that was like a very 90s element of the film, in the sense of action films tend to be socially more conservative than, like they just tend to be that. And Steven Tobolowsky kind of talks in this kind of therapy talk. And the Charles S. Dutton, the movie, has a very eye-rolly reaction to this. But Steven Tobolowsky manages to get Charles S. Dutton's respect because he just kills a man, not because he's a good investigator or he's done something, well at his job, just because he killed the guy. And he's like, now you're a real man.
Now I
It's
can
like,
respect you. Yeah. Yep.
and it's like, It's like politics in this movie. Dodgy, but okay.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, and you're right about, that's very actiony, very 90s-y, very, yeah. All of the things. The other thing, so Patrick Swayze, they give him back his license after this. Just, I don't know. Yeah, none of that was believable, but I'm pretty sure that people convicted of vehicular manslaughter are not actually eligible to ever get a commercial driver's license again. So I don't think that would have happened in real life for Cruise, but it's a movie.
Yeah, I think that's just one of those things that is not believable at all. But, we have to get there for our happy ending,
Mhm.
The house is saved.
Yeah.
He's got his license back. Let's go. Let's get ball game. It's like,
Oh, wait. Yeah. Yep. I actually was thoroughly engaged watching this movie with our everyman, Patrick Swayze. It was adrenaline filled, highway, road action. I don't know how to describe the genre exactly. Good flick. But it is time now to return to present day reality. Scott, thank you so much for joining me to talk about this wild ride, pun intended, of a movie and 1998. Do you have any closing thoughts about Black Dog?
I guess my closing thought is, obviously it's not a super well seen movie. And it's maybe not, on a script level, on a plot making sense level, not necessarily the best movie you'll see. But if you're an action fan, there is like an action scene every 5 to 10 minutes.
It's true.
And like all the action scenes are good. All the car chases are good. The fights are fun. Everything action related to this film is good. So want something that you can switch your brain off to on a Friday night or whatever, it's a perfectly acceptable movie. It's a fun ride.
I concur. Now, please tell us where we can find you.
So you can find all 90s action all the time, kind of wherever you can find podcasts. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple Podcasts, it's on a few other podcast providers. If you want to hit us up on social media, you can. We've got a Facebook page, All 90s Action All the Time. We've got Twitter, X, whatever you want to call that, which is 90s Action is our handle for that. As I mentioned, New Horror Express is winding down, but you can still hear all the episodes wherever you get podcasts, again, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that kind of stuff. And yes, and also we've got a website, newhorrorexpress.com. And I should have mentioned about All 90s Action All the Time, that of course you can listen to it at the Last of the Action Heroes podcast.
You can. Like Scott's show about 90s action, I also co-host One More Round, the Rocky Series podcast, and it's on the Last of the Action Heroes podcast network. That's how I know Scott. And I do want to thank you all for listening or watching Retromade. If you do have thoughts, feedback, etc., please offer a review. Alternatively, you can also email me at retromadepodcast@gmail.com, Facebook page, YouTube comment, all of the things. Until next time, be kind. Rewind.